Dear student, today we discuss the next unit of Applied Electronics paper, that's communication unit. In this communication, first we see the modulation. What is modulation? What is communication? What is different types of modulation? How the modulation is done? How the signals are transmitted using transmitter? And how the signals are received using receiver. These types of concepts are discussed in this unit. We start with communication. What is communication? Right. Communication is the process. Communication is the process of sending the message. So here the communication is the process of generating, transmitting and receiving the message carrying signal with proper conducting channel by electric means. The message may be the voice, music or anything. This voice, music and the other data are converted into electrical signals in the transmitter unit, and then they are transmitted through the conducting channel, through the wires or through the air or through the different waves, through the Wi-Fi, Bluetooth or anything by electric means. This type of process is known as communication. And then what is modulation? The modulation is the process of combining or superimposing the message carrying low frequency modulating signal with high frequency carrier wave. What is the modulating signal is nothing but a message carrying signal. Suppose if we make a music or we can talk anything in a mic, the sound waves, the sound energy is converted into electrical energy. The electrical energy is in the form of some waves. This wave is known as modulating signal. It is low frequency modulating signal. Then what is carrier wave? What is high frequency carrier wave? This high frequency carrier wave does not contain any message, any signal, any voice, any music. This high frequency carrier waves carries the message, carries the message signals, message waves. These carrier waves are generated using oscillators. So the low frequency signal that is produced by us, produced by our voice, produced by our music into the waves. The waves is called low frequency modulating signal. This low frequency modulating signal is combined with the high frequency carrier wave generated by the oscillators. So this combining process or superimposing the process or mixing the process is called the modulation. So altering, we are altering the carrier waves amplitude and carrier waves frequency and carrier waves phase with respect to the amplitude of the wave generated by our voice, generated by our music, called modulating signal. So depending upon the amplitude of the modulating signal, the frequency of or amplitude or phase of the carrier wave varies. So but the amplitude or phase or frequency of the modulating signal, that is the wave generated by us, does not varies. The variation is occur only in carrier waves. Okay. Then what is the need for modulation? Why we need the modulation? To transmit a signal. The signal means the voice or any other data generated by us in the form of wave. That is the sound energy converted into electrical energy. That electrical energy is in the form of modulating signal. It is called a signal. This signal, our aim is to transmit the signal to a long distance. So to transmit the long distance, we need a lengthy wire, a long wire, but it is an impractical one. The next option is to transmit this signal generated by us through the antenna. But the antenna dimension, the dimension of the antenna is equal to the destination distance. Destination distance means where we have to send our data, and then the frequency of the signal. The length of the formula is length of the antenna equal to destination distance and divided by frequency of the signal. But our frequency of the signal lies between 20 Hz to 20,000 Hz. It is the audible frequency, 20 Hz to 20,000 Hz. It is the frequency of the signal. Suppose we have to transmit a 10 Hz of our data, our voice or our music to a distance of 200 km. So we need the length of the antenna. We have to design the length of the antenna to transmit 10 Hz of our data to the distance of 200 kilometers. So length is equal to the destination distance is 200 kilometers. The frequency of our message is 10 Hz. So we need the length of the antenna is equal to 20 kilometer. So we need a 20 kilometer of. So we have to design the antenna of 20 kilometer. But the length of the antenna is larger and it is difficult to make this larger dimension. So we need modulation. Another point, for multiplexing. What is multiplexing? The number of channels, the number of different messages should be passed through a single cable. It is called multiplexing. For multiplexing, the number of messages carrying different modulating signal through a single cable, but it is not possible by sending the different data in a single cable. So we need modulation. And then the third point, to carry a undamped signal, the message carrying signal is easily damped out. So it is affected by the external disturbances like thunders and electric wires and etc. So to send the signal without any damping, we need modulation. So what are the different types of modulation? There are the three types of modulation. So the different types of modulation, there are three different types of modulation. One is amplitude modulation, frequency modulation, and phase modulation. So for the modulation process, we need two signals. One is message carrying low frequency modulating signal, and another one is carrier wave. The modulating signal has three different parameters. One is the amplitude, this area. So this area, so that is the maximum to this level, maximum to minimum. This is known as amplitude. This area and this area is known as amplitude. So amplitude of the signal, this is, and then frequency. This, the one first parameter is amplitude, the second parameter is frequency. It is the one wave here up to this one wave. See here, it is the frequency of the modulating signal. The one wave is like this. It is the carrier wave. The one wave is like this. See the length of the carrier wave and the length of the modulating signal. It is known as frequency. The time taken to complete one cycle is this one. It is the time taken to complete a single wave. It is called a single wave. So the frequency is very high in the carrier wave. The frequency is low in the modulating signal. Another parameter is the phase. See, the modulating signal starts with zero phase here. It is 0. Here 90 degree. It is a 90 degree phase. It is the 180 degree phase. So the signal starts with 0 here. Suppose the signal starts here, then the phase varies. It is a 0 phase. It is 90 degree phase. This area is 180 degree phase. So the modulating signal has three parameters. One is the amplitude, another is the frequency, third one is the phase, 0 phase, 90 degree phase and 180 degree phase. So the modulating signal has three parameters. One is amplitude, frequency and phase. In the same way, the carrier wave, it is the high frequency carrier wave. It also have these parameters. The amplitude, this is the amplitude, and it is the frequency, and it is the phase. If it starts with here, it is 0 phase. If the carrier starts with here, it is here 90 degree. So it is 180 degree. So it also has amplitude, frequency and phase.